Hey guys, what's up? It's Dreadscape Gaming here, and today on the channel we are going to be returning to Sanctuary for some starter builds of Diablo 4. So, for today's first starter build, what we're going to be taking a look at is the class that I was playing for Season 4, or excuse me, Season 1 of Diablo 4, I should say, that being the Druid build. So, let's get into it, shall we? We'll start at the very beginning of the skill tree. So you're going to want 1 point into Earth and Spike, 1 point into Enhanced Earth and Spike. Going down to the cores, we're going to want 5 points into Pulverize. This is our main source of damage. Then we're going to want 1 point into Enhanced Pulverize, 1 point into Primal Pulverize. Here, we're going to want 1 point into Heart of the Wild, 3 points into Abundance, 3 points into Wild Impulse. Moving down here, we want 3 points into Predatory Instinct, 3 points into Iron Fur. Moving further down, we want 1 point into Earthen Bulwark, 1 point into Enhanced Earthen Bulwark, 1 point into Preserving Earthen Bulwark. Moving further down, we want 1 point into Debilitating Roar, 1 point into Enhanced Debilitating Roar, 1 point into Preserving Debilitating Roar. Moving further here, we're going to want 3 points into Nature's Reach, and then from there, that's all we're taking. Here, moving in, we're going to want 1 point into Trample, 1 point into Enhanced Trample, 1 point into Savage Trample. Here, we want 3 points into Crushing Earth. Here, we want 2 points into Safeguard. And here, we want 3 points into Stone Guard. If you have extra Renown left over, you could put a point into Safeguard if you want. It's your own choice whether you do that or not. Moving further down, for our ultimate, we're going to take Grizzly Rage, 1 point into Primal Grizzly Rage, 1 point into Supreme Grizzly Rage. Here we want 3 points into Defiance, 3 points into Natural Disaster, 3 points into Resonance. Here, 1 point into Circle of Life. Again, when you have all your Renown on your map, you could put 3 points into here. If you want it, it depends on whether you do Renown Grounding or not. Then from here, for the key passive, we're going to take Earthen Might. For the boons, for the first one, you're going to want to have, unequipped it, but you want basically advantageous these. Okay, good. Then from here, what you're going to want to take is you're going to want to take Avian Wrath. You could also, if you want to, take Gift of the Stag, which is probably a little bit better than an advantageous piece. So then moving over here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want 1 point, or the point into Calamity. You could use Irwin's, but really we're trying to go for as much damage as possible. So then from here, we're going to take basically everything, because you get everything on the snake tree. If you want to, here in particular, if you wanted to, you could put the critical strikes here to reset the cooldown of companion skills, but you're not using companions, that's why I say you take Calamity over that. Here, critical strike damage is important. Here, it's really kind of a toss-up. Like, you're not going to use Thorns with this build. Maxim Spear is your best bet, because you know, the damage from the elites, it's nice, but you're going to be tanking anyway. And this one here, control impairing, 15% is not that great, so that's why I recommend that. Okay, for the character, for the aspects that you want to run on the armor, I would say get this aspect where damage from Earth skills slow enemies by 25% for 5 seconds, because it works with your synergies. Here, for the breastplate, for the moment, until you get into endgame, you're going to want something that can do something like this, where you heal for 19 life per second for each close enemy up to 186%, or excuse me, 186 life per second. This is actually deceptively good because a lot of enemies are going to swarm you when you're pulverizing, so you get back health. Here, we are going to take the Edge Master's aspect, so skills damage up to 18% increased damage boost on your available primary resource when you cast it, receiving a maximum benefit while you have full primary resource. Here, what we're going to do is we are taking the same heal one. We can put something else here if we want. Here, when you have Fortify skill, or excuse me, when you have Fortify, your Earth skills gain 2 ranks. It's kind of very important because it gives you a whole bunch of options there. Here, Shockwave, for the weapon, I recommend you to a 2-handed weapon. I like the mace because we're going to be abusing overpowered damage anyway with this. So you want 2 of the green gems here, in particular green emeralds, so make sure you put them here. But for the aspect, we want basically Pulverize creates a shockwave that travels forward, dealing 120% of its damage to targets in the path. Moving forward from here, what we want here imprinted is this one. So when you use shape-shifting skill, that changes your form, gain 114 life. If you're at full life, gain the same amount as Fortify. Because remember, with Fortify, we're also using Overpowered, so that works synergized there. For the ring, I end up with a Hunter Zenith. This is not really good, but because it's got decent rolls for critical strike and overpower damage, that's what I'm using for the moment. Ideally, you probably wouldn't run this, but because I got a unique and it was better than what the gear I have starting out is, that's why I took that. For the ring, I'm using the Ring of the Unseen Aura. This is an imprinted here, so Pulverize is now also an Earth skill, which is very important because it synergizes with the rest of the aspects that we have. After casting Pulverize, Tectonic Spikes continue damage for 336 damage over 2 seconds. This is very, 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 very good. Now, since we are in season, this will not apply if you're watching this video after season 1. But for the hearts, what you want is the Vicious Heart that says you gain 59% critical strike damage, but your non-critical strikes deal 20% less. For the Brutal Heart slot, I have 18% of incoming damage is instead suppressed when you use a defensive, super rich, or a Maccabee skill. We're using a defensive skill in this build, so that's why we get this. All suppressed damage is amplified by 250% and explodes, dealing up to 600 and 344 fire damage to nearby enemies. I don't know why these guys are around me, so pay no mind to them. So then from here we have the Raffle Heart. This one is the Heart of the Barber, probably the best heart that you can get in Diablo 4 first season mingling. This has critical strikes and all subsequent damage within 2.9 seconds is absorbed by your target. Then the absorbed damage erupts onto surrounding enemies. Stored damage is increased by 11% per second. So those are the hearts you want to run, ideally. It's going to take a lot of grinding to get the Raffle Heart of the Heart of the Barber. These other ones generally are going to drop when you're already into tier 3 pretty easily, so that's not too much of an issue. As for the weapon, honestly look for something with high overpower and critical strike damage if possible. For the boots, anything that makes you faster is very important. Anything that buffs, strength, intelligence, particularly you want. Anything here that can buff all stats for the moment and give you good healing and damage reduction, go for it. For the gauntlets, anything with critical strike damage with Earth, you kind of want to go for. Storm skill cooldown's not very important, so don't pay attention to that. We're working with best in slots right now. Here, damage reduction, very important for your helm. Life on kill will be important. Barrier generation, but anywhere where you can buff critical strike damage, overpower damage, and just basically cooldown reduction, you kind of want to go for that. So that's basically what you want for the Star Bell. I'll show you what it does in action, and we'll do it in like tier 3. So I'm gonna go somewhere where there's like an event so I can show you it properly in action and how your damage rotations are going to go. As I've said, Diablo Season 1 kind of missed the mark quite a bit. I did cover a video as to why Season 1 failed, so definitely if you haven't checked it out, definitely make sure to do so. I'll have a link in the description. So it's still kind of in the same state where there's not a lot of good uniques. You don't get a lot of good uniques to drop until you really want it to. Let me run all the way over this way. Actually, this is a good demonstration. I won't even go here. Alright. So I'm going to pop this. That's going to generate a barrier. And from there, I'm just going to basically look for big packs. And I'm just going to go Pulverize. Then from there, I'm going to pop a Dilapidating Aura. Going to build up whatever I can. Drop Pulverizes when possible. Pop that. We'll go Trample. And drop Pulverize. And you see everything pretty much explode. So think of this as the Hulk Smash type of build. You're going to be doing all your damage with Pulverize. You're going to be popping shields to generate there. And then whenever you face something that is a little too beefy, you're going to pop your ultimate. You don't really have a need to use the ultimate right now, so I'm not going to show you that just yet. So again, damage rotations, you're going to use this to regenerate your spirit. Pulverize. Anytime you see blue numbers, that means you have your overpowered damage going off. Anytime you see yellow numbers, you are doing your critical strike damage. I'm going to kind of go off the side here. We're going to do one quick, like, Trio Whisper type of event. That way you can see, like, this in full effect when we're fighting big enemies. Here, again, You're going to build up your spirit, pop your shield, debilitating roar, and then you're just going to go pulverize. Look at how everything pretty much explodes. Thanks mostly to the heart of the barber. Malignant heart. Unfortunately, if you're watching this video after the season's over, you're not going to have access to the heart, so it's going to be a little bit weaker in terms of power, but it's still pretty big in terms of buff. Let's go over here. This is going to be a pretty good area to pop the ultimate as well as everything. Okay, so we're going to pop this corpse here. Okay, good. So we're going to use our spikes. We're going to pop our overpower. Pulverize. We're going to drop here. A good chance. Let's move back a little bit here. We've got to wait for a bigger damage rotation if enemies come through. So, pretty much rinse, recycle, repeat. Every once in a while, pop your debilitating one or your overpower damage. See here. These enemies are actually popping a little too easily here. So we have the big champion here. This is where you're going to want to use your ultimate for these big beefy boys here because you're going to just trap a couple of these. Let's go trample. And you pretty much won't carry them. Let's move back because that will kill me. And that's pretty much all there is to the Pulverize Wearbear build. It's very tanky. When you're fighting big bosses, you will pop them very, very easily, as you see here. So your damage rotation order is going to be like pop a shield, pop a roar, drop your pulverizes whenever you don't have resources left. Do that, so you get them back. And then whenever you can, trample, pulverize, and then you pop your ultimates wherever possible. And that's really all there is to the Pulverize Druid build. So simple. Once you got the aspects that you need, you will pretty much be able to do exactly what you see here. As you go further up into endgame, there is stuff that you can gem into here. Or not gem, but uniques that you can get, and that will make things much better, where you can maintain all your earth skills while you're in Wearbear form. That is actually the pants, or not the pants, excuse me, the chest plate. But I have not gotten it to roll yet, which is why I'm not showing it. And I want to show you an easy build with stuff that you can easily get pre-level 50 to be able to then further climb higher in your seasonal journey, as well as maybe if you're doing an internal realm. But this will give you a good basis to clear through World Tier 2 and World Tier 3 and do the first capstone dungeon. Then as you go further higher up, it's a matter of whether you want to switch to Stormclaw. I'm not going to cover that because we're not at that junction yet in our build. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so, as it helps the channel grow. And I will see you for the next one, which will be a Barbarian build. Anyway, until next time, guys.